If you could say your full name and your title and your company for me, please.
Sure. I'm Jagdish Ramaswamy, Chief Digital and Information Officer with Hindalco Industries. We are in the business of making aluminum and copper.
Jagdish, it's wonderful to have you here. Thank you so much for being with us today. Talk to me about the importance of you speaking, but also attending this forum.
Yeah, I think the beauty of this forum is that we have speakers from all over the globe, right? From US, Europe, this part of the world, and then India. So you get to listen to a lot of different viewpoints. That's number one. Number two, I think while we keep seeing about our own journey, it's always good to learn from others as to what others are doing. And it's pleasantly nice to see that everybody is having the same challenges. So I think that's the biggest advantage of attending a session like this.
Outline for me some of the biggest challenges, but also opportunities for your company today as we go through this digital evolution.
I think if you take maybe 7-8 years back, the technology was a big issue for the companies. They were figuring out how to use the digital technologies. I think over the last 5 years, the companies know how the technologies actually work, how they do. Now the challenge for companies is to adopt. Because I think at the end of the day, the CEOs are looking at, I've invested so much of money in technologies. What's that I'm getting back? So it's time for all of us to really look at how do we adopt. And you saw a lot of challenges in terms of people and processes. So it's all about, I think, across the globe, we are struggling about how do we get this into the DNA or the culture of the organization to be digital? Because I think all of us have transformed through different phases. We had the same challenge when we had Six Sigma, when we had Lean, and this is another challenge of how you're going to make people adopt technology. And the second part is how do you really get good data? These are the two big challenges I see as we go forward.
Difficult question perhaps, but what is the timeline with the cultural shift that you say is so important, and also with overcoming challenges relating to big data?
So let me put it this way. One, it depends on the size of your company. There are companies who are trying to take 1 or 2 operating units and trying to transform them. That's not going to help. So as a company of our size, which has got around 25 plants, you need to get this culture across all the plants. So how much does it take in terms of building the culture? It could take 3 years, it could take 10 years. It depends on the leadership's drive to make this change possible. But definitely not less than 3 to 5 years to really make the transformation. And the same challenge when you look at data, I think you had one of the presentations where they talked about the challenge of getting good data and what goes behind getting good data and mapping it with the business case. So this is again a challenge, but that should be broken up into small pieces and stitch it together. And don't take a very mega approach of getting all the data across in the organization in one place. That's not going to work. I think you have to start working on data in bits and pieces to solve business problems. So get to the rhythm of solving a business problem using data. I think you'll get there. That's much easier problem to solve.
That's what we like. Last question. We have another day of panel discussions, keynote speakers, but also an important workshop coming up tomorrow. If you were to take away one important piece of information aside from what we've discussed from tomorrow's workshop, what would it be?
I think it's purely about how do you get to practices. See, we talk about people and processes, right? So the biggest challenge I see is what are your new practices? And we talk about whether you take a Toyota production system or a world-class manufacturing, it's a set of practices. So the biggest challenge is across process and people, how do we collectively change the way we do business in terms of practices that basically captures and engulfs data as a core. So that I think I'm looking forward to discussion around how do you make data as a way of life in your practices.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Pleasure.